Hello, I'm Stephen Fry, and my narrations of Harry Potter, books 1 to 7, are now available to listeners in the US and Canada. I think in the first book, the character you relate to is Harry, because everything is new to him, and everything is new to you. So you are seeing everything through his eyes, through his spectacles, in fact. By the Chamber of Secrets, you're beginning to become more intrigued by Dumbledore, I think, because there's a real threat, and you feel he could intervene at any moment and literally wave his wand, but he doesn't. And so you become very perplexed. You realize there's some longer game going on. Well, The Prisoner of Azkaban, the thing that I remember being so excited about is setting of the atmosphere, where it was the Dementors, these terrifying creatures. I absolutely loved terrifying myself and hoping that the listener would be terrified too. The Goblet of Fire was, what I really liked there was that we started to get these foreign students coming in to take part in the competition. In The Order of the Phoenix, I think it's Dolores Umbridge. She's so monstrously toxic. She's just appallingly ghastly. A character I loved voicing was Dobby the house elf. I loved how Hermione came to his defense and her sense of social justice was outraged. Also that he wasn't sentimentalized. He was kind of very much his own character. When they're in each other's heads, Voldemort and Harry, it was thrilling to read them, and I was getting quite excited and scared myself. Listen to the entire Harry Potter series, narrated by me, Stephen Fry, now on Audible.
Hi, I'm Jim Dale, and I'm the narrator of the Harry Potter audiobooks, all 7 of them, and all the characters. Hope you enjoy this. J.K. Rowling knew my work in England from a series of films, and she trusted me to come up with the right voices for the characters, and thank goodness she did. I remember the first day in the studio, and it was terrible because I was making sounds, I was leaning too far forward, and they had to stop me every 2 or 3 seconds to say, no, cut that out, don't keep moving your arms, we can hear it. I thought, I don't know whether this is for me or not, but after the first 2 or 3 days, I got sort of slightly used to it, and I enjoyed it terrifically. I traveled England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland as a stand-up comedian, getting to know those people and hearing the way they spoke. That must have stayed with me, because I find it just so easy to drop into a Scottish accent. Who knew, just mention it. My aunt came from Edinburgh, and she was Professor McGonagall. Oh, that was true. She used to phone me. She said, Jimmy, dear, I'm coming over to America to spend a few days, and I know you like taking me to the very best restaurants, so I won't bring any money with me. Is that all right, dear? I found Dobby's voice 20 years before. I heard it. It was spoken by a real person. I was in a place called Selfridge's department store at Christmas in London, and it was crowded, absolutely packed. And I wanted to go up in the elevator, or the lift, as they say in England. So it came up from the basement. It was packed, the doors open, so we all backed into it. So I'm packed into this elevator, the doors close, and in the silence, as we go up to the next floor, I hear a little voice behind me say, "Excuse me, sir. Can you take your bum out of my face?" And I looked around and I realized it's immediately behind me, lower down. And I couldn't quite turn around to see it. And I said, I do apologize. I'm very sorry. I can't move. And the voice said, That's all right, sir. They all do it. Look at the characters from Harry Potter, from everything from a giant to a spider to a snake. You still have to get into their heads. They speak, and if they speak, they've got to be understood, and they've got to have their character come out through the voice. You read the first page, and halfway down it says Dumbledore. So on a pad, I would write page 1, voice number 1, Dumbledore. Then I would give a description of who that character is, briefly, so that I would know. Hesitant, wheezy old man, And then I would have a small tape recorder, and I would practice a couple of voices until I was satisfied. And then I would record the first sentence that Dumbledore speaks into the microphone, saying voice number 1. And as we go through it, I kept stopping to say, just a minute, this is voice number 24. I've forgotten what it is. Let me just play the tape. Voice number 20, yeah, Dobby. 300 voices, it's crazy. I didn't even know I could do 2 of them before I started. It was a little sad, but not all that sad, because their voices, they still exist on whatever means you have of listening to them. And they were there for you to listen to and to remember and to still get involved in their adventures for as long as you want to listen to them. Due to theatre, I've been able to become the narrator that I am. You're playing to what's called an empty house in an audiobook, but not really in your mind. You're playing to an audience who are sitting, listening at home. It's one-on-one now. I'm not speaking to 1,000 people. I'm speaking to young Alfie, who's got his headphones on, and he's just hearing my voice, so it's a one-on-one, and I'm trying to tell Alfie the story, not 10,000 people at the same time. Everything you do in an audiobook is a performance, similar as you would do on stage. I hate the word actor. I don't like the word actor. I never have. Act, it means putting on something fake. You're acting it. I just think the word should be. Just go up there and be.
As every fan of the Harry Potter stories knows, the shelves of the Hogwarts library are home to all sorts of fascinating books. There are 3 in particular you might have heard mentioned by certain Hogwarts students, and that you can add to your reading list too. If you want to get to grips with the magical beasts of the wizarding world, have all the facts of Quidditch at your fingertips, or finish the day with some particularly enchanting fairy tales, then let me recommend the Hogwarts Library Books by J.K. Rowling, writing under the names of some authors she conjured up in her imagination. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by the world-famous Newt Scamander, who you might have come across in the Fantastic Beasts films, is a fun and fascinating guide to magical creatures and essential reading for any fan of the wizarding world. Hermione Granger certainly read it, and, as you might remember, was alarmed to identify a potentially explosive Rumpet Horn on the wall of Xenophilius Lovegood's house as a result.
"How do you know it's an Rumpet Horn?" asked Ron, edging away from the horn as fast as he could, given the extreme clutter of the room. "There's a description in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them."
No aspiring Quidditch star should even think about picking up a broomstick without first reading Kennel-Worthy Wisp's Quidditch Through the Ages. Harry Potter, for one, took a lot from this comprehensive history, before it was confiscated by Professor Snape, that is. For one thing, he learned that there are 700 ways of committing a Quidditch foul, all of which occurred during just one World Cup match in 1473.
"What's that you've got there, Potter?" It was Quidditch Through the Ages. Harry showed him. "Library books are not to be taken outside the school," said Snape. "Give it to me. 5 points from Gryffindor."
And The Tales of Beedle the Bard is a collection of fairy tales as familiar to Hogwarts students as Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella are to us. Don't believe me? Just ask Ron Weasley. He was appalled that Harry and Hermione hadn't heard of Babbity Rabbity, the heroine of one of the tales.
"You've never heard of the Tales of Beedle the Bard?" said Ron incredulously. "You're kidding, right?"
With notes throughout from Albus Dumbledore, Beedle is essential reading for any Harry Potter fan. And as for its final story, the tale of the 3 brothers, well, let's just say that the Professor's comments are particularly intriguing for readers who know anything of the Deathly Hallows. So, if you're craving a little more magic after reading the Harry Potter series, you can take it from me. The Hogwarts Library Books are exactly what you're looking for.